If immigration is such a net positive for America, let's put it up to a vote. A guy named Brian, I think his name is Brian, read a very eloquent comment on a libertarian case against open borders. It is well thought out, very well written, lots of links and everything. And look, I thought it was a good argument. His case ultimately is that immigration is a win for both sides. Is a win for the immigrant and a win for the receiving country. And I hear this a lot, and I say, well, if that's true, why are we not having a vote on it? We've never had a vote on immigration, not one time, at least in my life. Not one time has there been a debate in polite society that says we need to tackle this. The only time there was Donald J. Trump. That's it. That's it. There's never been a debate on this other than, through our own day-to-day activities, but there's never been a vote. It's always been from top down. And it's very frustrating, the same reason why Brexit happened, because people say, oh, it's racist or anything. It's silly. I get so fed up and tired, and that's what they're trying to do in Ireland, by the way. They're trying to say in Ireland that if you stand against the government authority when it comes to asylum seekers, you are committing a hate crime, which is freaking scary. All right, so let's go back to what Brian says. Untold immigration, open borders, legal or illegal. This is what the libertarians say on Reason Magazine and whatnot. It's sad. National Review used to be this way, too. National Review used to be, what I mean is they used to be restrictions on immigration. I'm sure they're not like that anymore. Jonah Goldberg from National Review, I heard him interviewed on Nick Gillespie, and he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Accommodating, let's just put it that way, to the idea of open borders. And I just, that was the same people. We need open borders, unencumbered free trade. These are the conservative counterpoints today, that they say we are conservative, we believe in unlimited immigration and free trade. It's silly. To be conservative, to go for unlimited open borders and free trade, the way they see it, because it's not free, there is no such thing as free trade, is silly. And then the idea of unlimited immigration, just anyone can come, that is not a conservative proposition at all. Inherently, that's progressive, because you're progressing towards something that we don't know what it's going to be. Well, we kind of do. California's an example. You're not conserving something by any stretch of the imagination. So for those self-proclaimed Bill Kristol types, the DC elitists to say, we're conservatives and immigration is it's a without unchallenged net good for everybody is simply not true. Now, the reason we know that, if it's such a good, you'd vote on it. Now, what the libertarians will say, because this is what libertarians always say, the thing about the problem with the democracy is 50 plus 1, i.e., all it takes is 50% plus one more to remove your rights if you're in the 49.9999%. So all it takes is a 50 plus 1, and your freedoms are inherently restricted. Well, and they'll say that that's why democracy, freedom should never be put up to vote, because democracy is a mob can rule in democracy, so to speak. Well, the problem, and they'll say that, look, so you wanted to put slavery up for vote, don't you? You want to put Jim Crow up for vote, don't you? Well, the answer is A, that never was put up for vote. Not by the citizens, ever. How do we know? Because blacks could not vote. Blacks could not vote in their own ability to be free. Thus, don't give me that silly argument, which libertarians will do all the time. The majority voted in favor of whatever, Jim Crow, and I'm not even sure that's true, to be honest with you. I don't know that to be true. The majority voted in favor of segregation. I don't know that to be true. Now, the majority might have voted in favor of segregationists, right? But it wasn't a majority, because blacks were denied the right to vote. American citizens were denied the right to vote. So don't tell me that the majority voted in favor of slavery, or in favor of segregation. Whites did, maybe. I don't know. I literally don't know. Let's say they did. Whites did. But that is not the 50 plus 1 rule, because whites were not all of the citizenry. The citizenry was the right to vote was denied to disenfranchise blacks. So stop this with saying, the whites voted to enslave. Yeah, exactly. The whites voted to enslave or at least make segregation. That's horrific. But the people were not allowed to vote of the people who were going to be subject to those rules. Well, shouldn't you do the same with immigrants? No, because they're not inherently citizens. Well, blacks weren't citizens. They were residing in the United States. They were disenfranchised. To state that blacks were the equivalent of people trying to get here today is insanely stupid and frankly quite offensive. To say that a black guy, a World War II vet, who went back to his place in Birmingham and was not have the right to vote, even though he gave blood and maybe even life. Now, obviously that same guy didn't, but his cohorts did. He was disenfranchised. It's a whole hell of a lot different. Some guy who's fighting economic chaos in Guatemala. A completely different game. Please do not equate those. It's not equivalent at all. That guy, that honorable hero, was denied the right to vote. Denied the right to have civil liberties, for sure. He was a citizen of this great country. We denied him his ability to exercise his franchise. It's horrible. I'm ashamed by it, absolutely. As I said this a million times a Sunday, I'm ashamed by it. But do not say that guy is the equivalent of any other person in the United States or any other person in the world. It's inherently. Do not say that guy's the equivalent of a gay guy. Do not say that guy's the equivalent of a guy who's trying to come here to escape economic poverty. No. That guy was denied his right to vote. People trying to come here today to open the borders. If it's an unencumbered good, we should say, let's put up for vote. Should we have unlimited immigration or not? If it has been an unencumbered good, then we should all vote in favor of unlimited immigration. Should we not? Because we can say, this guy Brian made a case that I am better because of unfiltered, unlimited immigration. Unlimited trade, I am better for that. Can you make that case to the American public and win a majority that says, no, you're right. From now on, we're going to have unlimited, both those things, trade and immigration, because we've shown our case that immigration is a net win. Can you make that case? You can't. I mean, you can make it. You might successfully try to make it in terms of what you think. That, look, we can prove that cost of living has gone down, crime has gone down, blah, blah, blah. Are you going to really try to attribute crime going down to immigration? That's what this guy's trying to do. He's trying to say, well, crime is down. Immigration is one of the reasons why crime is, and the whole thing. It's just, it's infantile to arrange correlations there which none exist. You cannot. Now, you can make the case we are certainly the beneficiaries of buying cheap crap made in China. So trade has absolutely benefited us. Walmart has absolutely benefited us, without question. I don't deny that. I don't deny that at all. It's benefited us on the short term. The long term, I'm not so sure. Immigration has not benefited us in any kind of say that you can say this is the reason we need more immigration because we've all been a beneficiary of it. We haven't been, not at all. Some have, absolutely. Corporate business owners, absolutely. Chamber of Commerce types in Washington, D.C., absolutely. Freaking the Janet Renos and the, what's her name, Linda Chavez and all that, who hires undocumented immigrants to watch their kids as nannies, absolutely been the beneficiaries of it. That guy, that roofer, though, in Nashua, New Hampshire, not the beneficiary of it. His wages have been declined. He might have even lost a job because he demands a higher wage that cannot be met because we have unencumbered immigration. No, the police force, the schools, the hospitals, these people are not beneficiaries of unencumbered immigration. I mean, enough of that. Enough. Just stop with this. It's beneath libertarians' arguments to say we've all benefited from this. Now, Brian would say, I'm not saying each individual has. Well, when you're saying it's been a net win for the country as a whole, I would say if that was true, I care about this individual here first and foremost, because the thing that matters for true libertarians is the individual. It starts here. The smallest unit is me. That is the most important unit in the whole world, is this right here. And this guy even said, he cited Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand says it starts here with me. The individual unit is the most important thing. Thus, if me is the most important thing, because my ability to survive is more important than anything else that's out there. It's most as a visual hand. My ability to advance my life is more important than my ability to advance Brian's life. It's more important than my ability to advance my country's life. My ability to advance my life is the only thing that matters. Take that away, you're no longer libertarian. You can say, well, the government benefits, the country benefits, not on the back of me. No, So the individual dictates whether something is good or not for that individual. Thus, if immigration is an unencumbered good for individuals as a libertarian, does it benefit the individual? Let's throw it up to a vote and see. Let's see, do individuals appreciate the academic theory of immigration being such a wonderful good? Let's see. And you know what's going to happen. The reason they don't do that because they know. The reason they go after Trump because Trump is the first guy that actually put this to a vote. We know this. No one else has had the guts to take on the Chamber of Commerce and the LULACs of the world. I forgot what the LULAC, some Latino organization, a rabble-rousing organization. The identity politics of the left. No one has had the guts to take them on, or the business politics of the right. No one's had the guts until Trump came along. He's the first guy to do so. Even Bernie didn't have anywhere near the guts. In fact, he fell in for the identity politics of the left. Too bad. If he's truly a socialist, he would recognize the way you increase wages is that you limit the supply of the laborers. It's literally economics 101. You want to increase wages, limit supply of the laborers. It's nuts. Bernie would not run on that because he's not a true socialist, because that would say we want to increase wages, we need to limit the supply of laborers. I mean, any time you're limiting supply and demand stays the same, inherently what's happening is, I mean, think about it. Demand goes up, the price goes up. Demand goes up or the supply goes down, the price goes up relative to supply. It's literally that simple. If a demand stays the same, but the supply goes down, demand has inherently gone up, thus the wages go up. The idea that Bernie Sanders doesn't get that just shows you that he might be a socialist, but he's not a socialist to represent the working class. That's for damn sure. It's silly, man. But don't you see, because you're paying less for your lawn being mowed, you have more expendable money. Okay, let's put it up to a vote, man. If that is true, that's a net win for each individual out there. Put up for a vote. I don't want to hear libertarians ever saying it's a net win for the country as a whole, because that's irrelevant. If we're going to cite Ayn Rand, it has to come to the individual as the most important unit in the whole world, is you. Specifically, are you better off because of unlimited immigration or not? As Reagan said, are you better off now because of unlimited immigration, or are you not? And let's just put it for a vote. Brian, if you can make the case, stake it to the American people. Let's see. We're not throwing people in jail. We're not going to put people in freaking chains. We're not going to disenfranchise people. We're just going to say, no, we don't. We're going to take a break. And then you can come back around 10 years from now if things fall to hell in a handbasket, which is what the assumption would be because we got rid of unencumbered immigration. You can say, look, let's do this again. Are you better off when we got rid of immigration? And you can make a case for it. It's never been done because we know what would happen. The populace would revolt and say, hell no, we want to restrict it. And the people who would do that the most, this is where the Republicans screw up, would be the people we need the most on the right. The working man and the working African-American voters. We would get those people like crazy because they're the biggest people affected by unlimited immigration. Their school districts, their communities, the working class whites and the working class blacks would be one, I'm telling you right now, it would be such a landslide in those communities if the Republicans would just pull their head out of their butt and say, let's put it up for a vote. Oh, man, it would be insane. It'd be a wonderful thing to behold. Not because we hate immigrants, but because we love our own people more. Our own people have a right to be heard. Our own people have a right to come first for once, because it hasn't happened up to this point. So, Brian, I appreciate the argument. I think it's eloquent. I think it's well stated. It's just inherently wrong, because you're overlooking the fundamental thing of all libertarianism. The soul, the individual, is always the supreme unit. Always, everywhere. And if that individual is supreme, let's see how each individual unit, which is held supreme to his own person, would vote in favor of let's open up the borders. And I think we know the answer, which is why you and your kind will never allow it to come to a vote, because you know those ne'er-do-wells, those deplorables, they won't see it like you do. You know it, and that bothers you. I get it, man. Unfortunately, we're going to win this because it's inevitable that we have to. If not, this will not be a country that we know 20 years from now. It just won't. And that is what we're dealing with for those of us on the libertarian right. We're saying the country as we know is changing rapidly in front of our eyes, and no one ever asked us. No one ever asked us. And the irony of it all is the people most affected aren't the libertarian right, who are usually an upper affluent white people. It's the people on the lower end of the scales, lower working class, Spanish speakers, blacks, and whites. And usually those go for the Democrats. But the Republicans can appeal to those people, and all we need to do is get a few. And if we can get a few of those people, it'll change the dynamics of politics for a long time, for a generation. It'll be awesome to behold if we just had the guts to do it. Thankfully, we do have one guy, and that's the Trumpster. No one else will. And I don't know what happens after he gets out in 2024. It'll be scary to see. But because I'm not sure the Republicans en masse would learn their lesson. I don't know. Maybe. We shall see. But all right. That's all I got to say. Thanks now.